Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of this Tottenham FIFA 18 career mode. Going to be another transition kind of episode where we shape the squad as we officially head into our third season. So we're going to be transfer listing a few players, looking at some potential signings, probably a lot of negotiation and probably little to no gameplay because you voted to sim the friendlies, of course. So we may get up to the start of the season depending on what sort of deals we go through. But before we jump in, huge thanks to our friends over at OneFootball for their continued support on this series. And just looking at the app, it was a strange weekend, wasn't it? For football results. Started on Friday night, no shocks there. West Ham drawing with Leicester. Obviously David Moyes newly in charge of West Ham, as is Claude Puel at Leicester as well. Palace, bit of a revival under Roy Hodgson. Wilfried Zaha, the man in form for them at the moment, starting to make things happen. Could be a potential signing for us, maybe. Big stroke of luck for Man United, beating Brighton. Ashley Young's goal deflecting right into the top corner. Marco Silva proving his worth as a manager as Watford won 3-0 at St James's Park. Swansea 0, Bournemouth 0, boring game there. Tottenham 1, West Brom 1. And this is where my question comes from. Harry Kane obviously bailed Tottenham out again. Do you think he can carry his goal-scoring form, which this calendar year has been unbelievable? Harry Kane scores goals for fun. Can he carry that into the World Cup? And if he does, how far do you think England can realistically go? Let me know down in the comments below. And obviously while you're down there, check out the link to download OneFootball. The link to the app is down there. For me personally, quarterfinals for England would be realistic. I'd be happy with that. You know, just get through the group, get to the quarterfinal. Anything above that is just a bonus for me. And then the game at Anfield that I said would be the meaty clash this weekend finished all square. Liverpool 1, Chelsea 1. Draw, probably a fair result. Bit of good fortune about Willian's goal. He said he meant it, but it's not true, is it? We all know that's not true. And then yesterday, Everton's dismal run continued. Arsenal very fortunate to win away at Burnley, scoring a late penalty. And then City, very fortunate again. So a lot of good fortune for the big sides, but then Spurs unfortunate not to beat West Brom. But for me, it's City's title to lose now. They are in the driving seat. Their record under Pep at the moment is phenomenal. But enough about that, guys. Download the app and let's jump into this game. Checking around the other competitions then. Manchester City win the FA Cup. They beat Arsenal in the final, and you can see that Roma have won the Europa League. Champions League hasn't finished yet, I don't think, so I'm going to check the winners of that very soon. But congrats to City and Roma. And Victor Wanyama has been banging on for the last 6 months or so, understandably, because he's a very good player, but a lot of you guys in favour of moving him on, so he will be transfer listed. We will try and get some money for him. I know some people won't agree with that, but it's what the majority want. Two players that will be leaving the club because their contracts expire and I won't be offering them new ones. Conor Ogilvie and Keziah Sterling. Ogilvie, never sure how you pronounce that one. Both young players, unfair to keep them here at the club because they're not going to get a look in. They'll be leaving. No surprise in Europe. Real Madrid, you can see Zinedine Zidane there with the trophy. They've won the Champions League. Congrats to them. No real surprise. They are one of the best club sides in the world. If I actually click on the article, we might be able to read in a bit more detail about how they did it. Not sure who they played in the final. Just waiting for the story to load up here. But Tony Kroos, I think, is sitting there quite happily. Is it going to give us any details? Yes. Manchester United is the team that they beat in the final. Credit to them. Obviously, I think they pipped Chelsea to second place in the Prem and runners-up. That's gutting, isn't it? Runners-up in the Premier League, runners-up in the Champions League as well. But all in all, a good season for them, I'm sure. And I'm delighted to tell you, no real surprise, that we will be Spurs manager for the upcoming season. We come to the end of the season, the board could not be happier with our performance so far. Players and staff look up to you, and you have done an excellent job aligning yourself with the club's vision, both on and off the pitch. We would be delighted to have you stay at the club. Thank you. We'll be staying. Champions League's what we're after, remember. Okay, so we are officially in the third season. Of course, first thing to do, even though we won't be playing the games, is to pick our pre-season tournament. And you guys know me by now, the one with the most money. We will be simming the games anyway. Chicago Fire, PSG and Bayern. How's that for a group? We've got 3 emails to welcome us in. American Challenge Cup, yep, we know about that. Shirt sales, just our target, 176 million in shirt sales. And then to let us know the transfer window is now open. Exciting times. But what I want to look at, and what's most important to me, you can see down at the bottom there, we've got the privilege of playing in the Community Shield against FA Cup winners Manchester City. But our first league game is, oh, terrific. Cheers fixture list. Chelsea at home, straight into a London derby on the opening day of the season. Love that. Then we've got Bournemouth. Just want to see what the and then Brighton, Sunderland, Newcastle, and then Stoke. So September's okay, no disrespect to those sides, but to kick it off against Chelsea means we're going to have to, you know, start fast if we're going to have a good start to the season. So I am here on the squad screen, and a massive 74% of you think we should add Victor Wanyama to the transfer list and look to move him on. So I will be doing that. Just going to check literally live here. Sell or keep Kovacic. 69% of you want to keep him. Okay. I did think that a lot of you would vote to move this guy on, but he's 86 rated, he's only 25. 69% of you think we should keep him at the club. So just Victor Wanyama will be transfer listed, because you guys also, in numbers, 78% of you voted to keep Tammy Abraham around as well. So really, the squad is good. We've got depth all over. I think probably now that Kluivert's back, did you see the hat-trick he scored, by the way, in real life at the weekend for Ajax? This guy is going to be a beast in a year or two, believe me. Correa now back, fully fit. The squad is good all over. I did mention new strikers, but a lot of you in the comments saying you don't need one. Don't need one. Just get rid of Victor Wanyama, raise the cash that you need, and then strengthen where you need to strengthen. So we'll do that together. Straight away, two massive offers. Well, I haven't looked at the second one yet, but Real Madrid want Harry Kane for £106 million. I mean, should I ask for 220 mil? That's what our board are suggesting. I might ask for something ridiculous like £500 million. I just want to see what Zidane will do. I'll say give me £500 million for Harry Kane. He's going to storm out, obviously, but we'll give it a go. You ready for this reaction? It's going to be bad. It is going to be bad. 500 mil. I'm ready for the backlash. He's going to literally do some sort of hand gesture and then clear off back to Madrid, isn't he? The bald man is going to rage. There we go. See you later. Bye. Don't come back in for him because he's ours. Big offer, though, for Correa from AC Milan. A lot of people voting saying get Timo Werner. A lot of people also comment that he's way overused and it would be boring if we get him. People sticking up for Correa, who can also play out wide. So, to be honest, I think if Correa can stay injury-free, he's 84 rated at the age of 24. I think he'd be a good player to keep around, and I don't want to sell him right now. Wow, he hasn't played a game for us yet, and I was bigging him up, but Justin Kluivert is subject to a big offer from Manchester United. He's only valued at 22 mil, and they've offered 30.4, so basically 30.5 million. I am willing to listen, but they're going to have to give us a ridiculous offer. I'm going to ask for 50 mil, which I think Mourinho is just going to do a reaction similar to Zidane. But he's our player. He's our young prospect. I'm happy to get him involved in the first team, so they need to pay over the odds. To be honest, in this market, in this day and age as well, 50 million for a young player like that is actually not that much money. Let's see what Mourinho does here. More than we're prepared to give. Can we set on 36? So he hasn't stormed out, and he has upped his offer, but I'm going to stick with 50 million. He's upped it now to 44 million, which is still ridiculous for a player that spent last year out on loan. Obviously, like I say, Correa can play out wide. We've also got Son, Bale, but I'm quite excited to see what he can bring. So I am going to, even though they've upped it to an offer that's like way above his valuation, I am going to stick with our £50 million price tag. Take it or leave it, Jose. It's your final chance to give us what we want. Now he goes mental. Now he goes mental and he leaves. Fine, we are going to keep Kluivert. A lot of you will probably be like, why on earth didn't you sell him? But I don't want to. We don't need to. Player I forgot to mention there, we also have Edwards. So we do have an abundance of wide options. Kluivert and Edwards are going to be competing for places. The only good thing about Kluivert is he does play on the left as well. So I see it being a competition between Kluivert and Son for that left-hand side. And then Bale and Edwards battling for space and position on the right-hand side. We've got a game now against PSG. I'm going to sim it as voted for by you guys, but I will show you the starting 11 because I'm going to tweak the tactics. Forgot about Pulisic as well. Oh my god, why didn't I sell Kluivert? I'm starting to regret that decision now. Anyway, this is a kind of formation that I am considering playing this season. Let me just put Vertonghen in there. Sanchez is away on international duty. Don't pay any attention to the players that are on the pitch at the moment. This is just a formation and starting 11 that I'm thinking of going with. Giving Kane the armband because of the way he led the team back end of last season and literally won the Golden Boot 2 times running. But this is kind of a 4-3-2-1 formation. I want Eriksen and Ali both to play in the hole because that's their best position behind Harry Kane. And if you've got them two putting balls through to someone who can finish, like Kane, it would be frightening. You've still got pace with Son and Bale out wide. My only concern is that we'd be a little bit exposed in the middle. And whoever was in there, Goretzka, maybe Kovacic, Winks on some days, maybe even Eric Dyer as well, would be too exposed. But then you've got 4 at the back. You've then got 4 at the back. So if teams did get through, you should have enough players back to cover. But let me know your thoughts on that formation. This is the starting 11 that are going to take on PSG. Going to sim it and see how we get on. So the only annoying thing about pre-season is you can see the side that PSG have put out there nowhere near their strongest 11. Despite that, they do go 1-0 up inside 20 minutes thanks to a goal from Hesse. But it's not a true test for our lads because you want them to be up against the likes of Neymar, players like that. However, we are still struggling. Maybe it's the formation. Maybe I'll put it back to something a little bit more familiar for the next game. But it looks as though we're going to end in defeat on the opening day of this pre-season competition. And we are. Just the one substitution made, which was Bale off, Correa on. But it ends in a 1-0 defeat. Quite disappointing against a second string side. So here's an offer that we wanted. And it's a big one. 30.6 million from Juve for Victor Wanyama. I am going to see if I can get 5 million extra for him. I didn't realise he was valued quite that highly. Obviously, he's a player that we are looking to move on. I'm going to ask for 35. I don't want to scare Juve off here. So if they don't agree to give us 35, I will go back and accept their initial bid of 30.6 million. Let's see what the gaffer says. Sorry, that's more than we're willing to pay. Oh, 30.6 is as much as we're willing to pay. So I'm not going to risk it any further. Probably could push it once more, but we're just going to take the money. Victor Wanyama is going to leave the club, providing he agrees personal terms with Juve. Good move for him as well. Big club, Juventus. Jumping into the second... Oh, well, that went well, didn't it? 4 minutes. Jumping into the second friendly now. Same formation, different personnel. You can see Foyth, Sessegnon, Kovacic, Winks, Cliver coming in to the starting 11. One area I think we definitely do need to strengthen is the right-back area, because I have really only got Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker-Peters. Not good enough in terms of rotation. You know, if we take Trippier out, Kyle Walker-Peters is not at that same level. But it looks as though we're going to end in defeat until the 87th minute, I should say, when Christian Eriksen popped up with a goal to equalise against a decent Bayern side. Ramos in there, Mario Götze, Shaqiri, Gnabry and Thomas Müller all starting. Alaba, Tolisso and Thiago Alcantara coming on into the game as well. So a fair result, I should say, probably looking at the teams on paper. So as mentioned, I've looked through your comments. I think we need a new right back. Most of you think we need a new right back. And these are the 3 players that were mentioned. Former Spurs right back Kyle Walker. People are saying get him back. He's actually quite cheap, but he is 29 years old. So not one for the future, but this is our last season at Spurs. So maybe Walker. Josh Kimmich, much more of a versatile player. Obviously a lot younger as well. Higher rated at 85. He would be a very, very good signing in my opinion. And Ricardo Pereira also suggested very, very quick. Obviously playing at Inter Milan at the moment. I'm going to put some bids in. But what I'll do is I'll make sure I don't complete any of those signings this episode because I want you guys to vote. Here's a poll. Let me know which of those 3 you would prefer. Obviously, price would be a key factor in this as well. I'm going to meet with all the managers. Obviously, last time Pep was in my office, he was an absolute douche. So hopefully that won't be happening again. I'm going to offer Kyle Walker's valuation of 20.5 million. And look at this guy. Honestly, I would love to just slap his egg head and just tell him to shut up. Now meeting with Ancelotti to discuss the Josh Kimmich deal. I've offered 35 million, which is only half a mil above his valuation. Ancelotti's come back and said, how about 55.7? I'm going to go back and say, how about 40? And I think he's going to come back and say something like, how about 50? That's how I see this negotiation going. And we're going to end up meeting at somewhere like 45. That's what I reckon could happen. Look, we're sticking to our price tag. Okay, let's try and skip a step. And I'll offer 45. Come on, Carlo. Do the right thing here. Josh Kimmich would be a great signing for us. He's young. He's versatile. I think he'd fit into the team very nicely. They're going to take some time to think about it. So it's not a no, but it's also not a yes. We'll wait to hear. Now meeting with Inter about Ricardo Pereira. Just obviously they're the 3 targets. I'm going to offer his valuation. They're saying 46.9. In my opinion, I think Pereira is probably the weaker of the 3 options. I'm going to up the bid to 34. See if that will change Inter's mind. But that is already quite a bit above their valuation. They'll sell him for 41. So that price tag come down double lively. I'm going to offer 35. And I think that will probably be my final offer for Pereira. If not, we'll turn our attention to either Walker or Kimmich. And we'll narrow it down to 2. So they've accepted 35. Okay, that was not as difficult as I thought it was. So he is still in the frame for a possible move. Just in case you're wondering how much money I've got to spend, currently, before Wanyama leaves, assuming that he will leave, I've got 84 million. Ah, Carlo, what are you doing to me? So Victor Wanyama did go. 26.5 million has been added to our budget. So we've got over 100 million now. They've asked for 55 million. 55.7 million for Kimmich. I'm going to sit down with Ancelotti again and see if we can meet at 50. Because 50, for me, for a player of his quality, would kind of be acceptable. Especially in this market. He's one of the, most sort of talked about youngsters in Europe at this point. Oh my God! Oh, 52 plus a 5% sell-on fee. Done. Deal agreed with Bayern. Nothing with the player as yet, because I'm not going to start those negotiations until you guys have voted. So we're heading into our final pre-season game against Chicago Fire, a game which I think we should win, and it's another test for this new formation. This is the starting 11 that I feel like I would put out against Chelsea on the opening day of the season. These players, these starting players here, is the team that I would put out. Obviously, we're not going to know really how good the formation is until we get a chance to play with it ourselves in-game, but for pre-season, we're going to sim this game against Chicago Fire. Obviously, before Chelsea, we've got the Community Shield, so that'll be our good sort of test. We're playing Man City, so they're no mugs. Obviously, one of the best sides in England, the best side in England at the moment, so that'll be a great test of the formation. Dele Alli puts us 1-0 up after 10 minutes. Of course, Chicago Fire, again, no disrespect, but they are weaker opposition. Gareth Bale makes it 2. Danny Rose has picked up an injury, which I hope will not be serious. It shouldn't be, because he's currently still on the pitch. Just as I say that, he gets substituted for Eric Dyer, who's just come on and makes it 3-0. Bale grabs a second, it's 4. Are we going to get a 5th before the full-time whistle? No, we're not. But we have finished this pre-season campaign, because I don't think that result is enough to take us through to the next stage. But we finished it in style. It is. We have made it through to the semi-final. So we'll be taking on Juventus and our friend Victor Wanyama. But that is where I'm going to end this episode, guys, because I want to vote on the right back to finish before I know who I'm going to move for. So I don't want to just speed through this pre-season. For you guys to have your vote, but we may need a new left back as well. Torn quadricep for Danny Rose. It's going to be out for 8 weeks, so we'll definitely miss the start of the season. Along with the poll on the right backs, let me know in the comment section what left backs you think I should go for, because I don't think Sessegnon is yet at the level to be a starting right back somewhere like Spurs. I'll be honest with you. That is devastating. Not what I need right now. But yeah, that's where I'm going to end it, guys. Obviously, we have got Kimmich and Pereira to negotiate with. Can go back in for Kyle Walker as well if he wins the poll. So just get involved. Let me know in the comments what you want me to do. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies, there was no gameplay in this episode. But like I said, I don't want to just speed through, because then you guys will have no input. Of course, we've got the semi-final against Juventus. If we win that, we could be playing for some more transfer budget, which will make it a little bit more exciting. Before we jump into the season as well, we'll do a full transfer roundup of the biggest deals that go on in Europe. But for now, guys, this one's over. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the series, and I will see you again next time.